Now.
All right, and Rebecca, any issue with going ahead and calling the meeting to order?
No, whenever you're ready, Heidi.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 10:01 a.m. this morning. Beth, would you please do the roll call?
Yes, I'll go by library name. If you can state your first and last name, please. Algonquin.
Sarah Murray.
Carrie. Crystal Lake.
Becky Fiolick.
Des Plaines.
Joe Bonell.
Gila.
Lauren Rosenthal.
Evanston.
Heather Norborg.
River Valley. Fremont.
Sorry, I couldn't hear. There's a lot of yard equipment outside my window. Scott Davis.
Thank you. Glencoe.
Andy Kim.
Glenview.
Terry Room.
Greens Lake.
Tim Longo.
Hi, Tim. Highland Park.
Heidi Smith.
Huntley.
Frank Novak.
Indian Trails.
Ryan Uden.
Lake Forest.
Catherine Lemmer.
Lake Villa.
Mick Jacobson.
Lincolnwood. McHenry.
Leslie Jakacki.
Morton Grove.
Pam Leffler.
Niles, Maine.
Cynthia Rademacher.
Northbrook.
Kate Hall.
Palatine. Palatine. Melissa, I think I see you muted. Park Ridge.
Joanna Bertucci.
I see Melissa's chat. Note that. Thank you. And Joanna, thank you. Prospect Heights.
Alex Todd.
Round Lake. Wilmette.
Anthony Austin.
Winnetka.
Courtney Volney for Monica Dombrowski.
Zion.
Robin Smith.
Circle, see if I've missed any. Carrie.
Diane McNulty.
Thanks, Diane. Fox River Valley. Lincolnwood. And Rum Lake. Okay. And for CCS, we have Rebecca Malinowski, Deborah Wishmeyer, and Beth Stonebringer.
Thank you so much, Beth. We want to welcome our new directors. Please correct me if I butcher your
Woo,
name.
yay, newcomers.
Newcomers. Becky Fiolick at Crystal Lake. How'd I do, Becky? Okay, great. Becky Fiolick, Tim Longo at Grays Lake, Heather Norberg at Evanston as interim leadership at Evanston. Welcome to all of you and thank you for being here today. Does anyone have any additions to the agenda? Seeing none, I'll move on. Any public comment? Thank you. I think this is where I'll make a comment as a member of the public. I just really appreciate all of the support that the Highwood and Highland Park Public Library teams have received from the Illinois library community and especially CCS. The books you've sent, librarian in crisis, the first thing we think of is a great book display, and you were part of that, and we really appreciate it. So thank you. The team have really appreciated the kind words, also the cookies, and the flowers look beautiful. So thank you all for your support. And it feels really good. I guess I can only speak for myself, but it feels really good to be doing normal stuff. So thank you for the support and for being at this meeting with me and helping me do normal stuff. Thank you very much.
Woo, yay, Heidi.
Yay, Alex. My goodness. Feels good to giggle too. Okay, so next on the agenda, we have the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to move forward with the consent agenda or hear from anyone who would like to remove an item from the consent agenda.
I would move to approve the consent agenda as presented. Lauren from ELA.
Kate Hall, I'll second that from Northbrook.
Thank you. And Beth, would you take the roll?
Algonquin,
The vote.
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Crystal Lake,
Yes.
Des Plaines,
Yes.
Ela,
Yes.
Evanston,
Yes.
Fox River Valley, Fremont. Scott, you're muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Glencoe,
Yes.
Glenview,
Yes.
Grays Lake,
Yes.
Highland Park,
Yes.
Huntley,
Yes.
Indian Trails,
Yes.
Lake Forest,
Yes.
Lake Villa,
Yes.
Lincolnwood,
Yes.
McHenry,
Yes.
Morton Grove,
Yes.
Niles, Maine,
Yes.
Northbrook,
Yes.
Palatine,
Yes.
Park Ridge,
Yes.
Prospect Heights,
Heck yeah.
Round Lake, Wilmette,
Yes.
Winnetka,
Yes.
and Zion.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Okay, so we'll move on to business. And thank you so much for sending me sort of a summary in addition to the packet. I'd really like to ask Rebecca to just talk us through these things as needed. And I'd really appreciate it, Rebecca. So the first thing is the innovative updates.
Absolutely. So in your packet, you have summaries on what's cooking with Innovative. We've, as you know, been tracking the development partner program. And I'm just pulling up my notes that I sent Heidi to make sure I don't miss anything cool. And the service interruptions that we've recently had. So starting with the service interruptions, Deborah and I have been working with Innovative. They previously had a monitoring system in place to catch these stuck jobs that are causing our issues. With a recent upgrade, that monitoring system got turned off. So that got turned back on. And then it seems like the root cause is a little bit different than what we had seen before. So it's not consistently getting picked up by that monitoring, but it is all still related to essentially the overnight jobs that control e-content integration, as well as perhaps search suggestions in Leap and Power Pack. So when you're typing and then it gives you like an autocomplete suggestion or that dropdown. So we've made some adjustments to how often that search suggestion piece updates. And then we are anxiously awaiting the 7.2 upgrade. So we just upgraded to 7.1. We're testing 7.2 on training. And 7.2 has a patch in it that is anticipated to resolve the overall performance issues. So we have been coordinating with them. They have caught, I think, a few instances before patrons or staff were affected, but a few have also slipped through the cracks as well. So we are working with them on that. Deborah, did I accurately summarize that? And does anyone have questions on the service interruptions component?
That was a great overview.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Any other questions before we move on? All right, don't see any. So on to CCS and cybersecurity. Please, Rebecca, thank you.
Yes. So While I was out on parental leave, Deborah fielded some questions from, I believe, Grays Lake about cybersecurity in the wake of the Boston Public Library ransomware situation. And then recently, Marcin and I met with Karen and Tim when they were still with Evanston to talk about cybersecurity after Karen participated in a tabletop simulation with other officials from the city of Evanston. So just kind of gathering the information from both of those sets of questions, we put together a summary of the steps that CCS and Innovative has in place to continue to protect our data, protect us from ransomware and other potential cyber attacks. So I included a summary in your packet. I'm happy to take questions on any of this. Fair warning, Marcin is out of the country, so I may have to do follow-up to get you answers on any questions you have, but I'm more than happy to do so.
All right, I don't see any questions, so.
I don't have any questions.
Catherine?
I just want to comment that I'm just so happy to see this on the agenda and that CCS has been addressing this, because this is just a super current issue. I just mentioned to Rebecca how the Government Finance Officers Association conference dealt almost exclusively with the current risk that the current cybersecurity needs, and how what an amazing change there has been just in the past 2 years in risks to local government. So delighted that CCS is out in front of this. So thank you.
And
Thank you,
Catherine
Lauren.
Lemmer
I believe-
had her hand up too.
I just had a question.
Catherine.
We sort of live in a hybrid atmosphere, so our finance materials and stuff live in the municipal offices, so we don't have a security risk that much around those. But what we have been doing is sort of exhaustive testing. And one of the things I wondered if anyone else, and now I'm at the stage where I have a question about whether we have a library privacy issue. So we've been working with our managed service provider to test the attacks that we've been seeing on our systems. And I have a letter from I want to make sure I say the agency correctly, the CISA of the Department of Homeland Security, and they're asking for access to our systems for managing threat only. Has anyone gone to that level of threat assessment? And if you have you thought about what about when you provide access, what that is from a patient confidentiality?
Catherine, we did, well, we haven't implemented it yet, but we've been talking about it with OSG, and my understanding, but this is 2 months ago, so my brain is a little fuzzy since I read all of this, is that they won't necessarily have, with how it's set up, it's basically pinging. They don't actually have any direct access to any information, but I'm not remembering it 100% perfectly right now. So we can talk offline if you want. And I'm sure, because you guys were talking, I'm sure Mike brought it up, right? With you guys too, or no?
We actually did, because when we went up for our cyber policy, because of not because it's a library necessarily, but because of the net worth of the individuals that we serve, people were like, what, our cyber insurance was more, ask more deliberative questions and ask for more deliberative information this time. And that's the only correlation I can make, because as I said, at the municipal library, our financial and our personnel records reside within the city's network, which is, if you're offsite, three levels of authentication, even on-site, it's 2 levels of authentication. So just, we've been working through all of these questions from the insurer and that's the next step. So yeah, let's have a chit chat because
Yeah.
I sort of said, yes, this is what it says. Yes, this is the bubble they're drawing. But once they have access, you don't know all the streams that flow through that membrane. So I just was curious how other people are. So I'll give you a call, Kate.
Sounds good.
Tomorrow or the next day.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, and wave your arms because apparently I'm missing questions. Anything
I
else?
couldn't find the question. It's been a long day already.
Just wave your arms. It'll be great. All right. Just hop in if there is one. We'll move on to potential members.
So our friends over at Warren Newport, their board is meeting next week, during which time we expect a vote on their membership. And Ryan anticipates that there will be no opposition from the board. So as I noted in the packet, the next steps would be that CCS would work with Warren Newport to draft, as we have done in the past, sort of like a membership request that will go to executive committee. We already have their like official application, but this would be more of a summary document about how they fit with CCS, et cetera. That'll go to executive committee, and then you as governing board should expect to see a vote on the October agenda. And just a note, per our bylaws, that does require a 2/3 majority to approve a new member. I don't anticipate any issues with quorum and attendance. We haven't really been having any of those, but just a heads up, if you do have to miss October, please make sure that you can send in an alternate so we can make sure that we don't have any holdups. And then the rough project timeline would be that we'd start working in January for a September go live with Warren Newport. Mieko will be leading the project. So that'll be a new step for her. And she'll of course have support from Deborah and from me, taking on that additional work and expanding her project management skills and knowledge. Any questions?
I don't see any arms waving.
Rebecca, are there any other initial inquiries or anybody else maybe in the pipeline that we're looking after Warren Newport?
I talked, oh gosh, it was probably a year ago now that I talked with Sue at Mount Prospect just about kind of what her plans and timelines are. The Mount Prospect is still interested in membership. It's just a timing question. So we'll, one of my performance goals for now is to kind of do a periodic survey of non-members in the area to try to track interest for those that choose to respond. So I'll be working on that in the next couple of months as well.
Well, once we find out who's going to be at Vernon, we can like swoop in and be like, hey, you should just join us. It will make your life so much easier. I mean, who knows when that information will, have they even interviewed yet? I don't know. But anyway, it's exciting.
I like it. Okay, anything else on this before we move on to the banks? All right, so Rebecca asked us to remember to update the mailing address for checks and to do that as soon as possible, where you're going to hear it from us as many times as possible. Super important, save y'all some trouble, and update the mailing address for checks. Anything you'd add, Rebecca?
That information will also be on the invoices that go out in the next week or so.
Friday, hopefully.
Friday. Okay. So so this isn't your only reminder, but I just want to put it everywhere, as Heidi said.
It'll be everywhere. All right. Moving on from business to reports. President's report. I just have one thing to report. I hate being in the media. You know, you're always looking at your haircut or your teeth or whatever, but we had miniature horses here at the library on Monday. They're coming again today, and we wouldn't let them in. And to throw them a bone, our marketing specialist said, "Our director will give you an interview." And I was like, "Oh, great." But anyway, in the WGN interview, there's a shout out to you and all of your libraries. They did not include the name of CCS, but if you watch the clip, which I will drop into the chat, it is for our local libraries. So I'm going to get over my ego here about how my haircut looks and send it on to you. Please feel free to share with your staff to say, you know, look, here's some of your good at work being acknowledged. And then check out the mini horses because they really do look like little Sebastian from Parks and Rec. I got to hug one and they were lovely. And then here's another one that I'm going to send to ILA to thank them for their Bigger Than a Building campaign, which popped right into my head. So I just wanted to share that by way of my report, and I don't have anything further for my report. Any comments, or I'll pass it along to our secretary.
No report.
Thank you, Diane. And Lauren, treasurer report.
Just that Rebecca had noted in her report that Paul and Sarah, the auditor, would be coming out and meeting with CCS in June. And I, by chance, happened to come to CCS at the time when he was there. So that has been done, and he reviewed, you know, policies and whatnot. So we're well underway for the audit for the last year. So that's always good to get that rolling.
Fantastic. Moving on to the executive director report. Rebecca, take it away. You're on mute though, so take it away unmuted, please.
Okay. My report is in the packet. I'm happy to answer questions about any of the projects that we didn't include in the regular business section. I'll also say that we are just wrapping up our annual reviews for staff. And I will send a sample to the list, but I have stolen a communication tool from my partner's company that with their annual increase letter includes a breakdown of the value of their benefits to help them understand their total compensation. I thought that was a really awesome idea when I saw it at the Association for Supply Chain Management, to give credit where credit is due. So Beth and I have been working on those personalized letters for our staff, which they'll be receiving this week. So I'll send it out if you're interested. I think it was really handy and really gives some perspective, especially in, you know, the library and nonprofit world where benefits really do make up a significant portion of compensation in a lot of cases.
Can I just add one thing onto that, Rebecca? Because I agree.
Yeah.
I love total compensation package breakdowns. I have a sample on my website with my second book, librarydirectorstoolkit.com, that also has one if you want to have multiples to compare. I'm betting mine, I'm not saying is perfect. It is definitely still a work in progress, but it is very valuable in helping show people what their total compensation package is rather than just their salary. So I can't wait to see the one that you and Beth made.
I'd also just like for you to carry your book around with you. So at these really opportune moments, you could say, and my book, the Library Director's Toolkit. I think that would be really beneficial for everyone.
Technically, it's the second one. It's the Public Library Director's HR Toolkit now.
Well, you have to say the title
Quote
again.
it too. You could quote
I'll
it
check out
on
your
page
site.
7. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Any questions for Rebecca on her report? Kate.
I have questions unrelated to my book. Okay, so in the summary for the different networking groups, the report from the DEI metadata networking group, I was wondering if you could, if you had more information, or if we could maybe see the info, because this is the Rails one, right? And I guess I could have gone on Rails website. I'm now realizing I was interested / concerned with like doing the whole content warning thing, and where are they in this process with putting labels on materials, and am I reading that right? For those following along at home, it is on page 35 of the packet.
I'll have to follow up on that. I have not reviewed the specific reports that they're working on. I mean, everything from the group would be, of course, like it's outside
On the
of
rails,
CCS.
yeah.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be like CCS says you have to do this. It would be guidance for if a library chose to do it, perhaps how to implement it. But I can pull that information and send it to the list.
Okay. Just because it seems contrary to kind of how we have approached things in the past. So I'm just curious where their thought process is. So, and I can look it up too, but that would be super helpful. And then I had one other question. In your consulting and support highlights on page 27, when you did the quick summary of when the EDI system was down or partially functioning, we had some communication, I would say, breakdowns here at Northbrook where I think we didn't have all of our lists updated. But I was wondering if you could just talk through kind of how communication with this type of thing is handled, because obviously with the slowdowns and stuff, it's easy and it goes to everyone. But I'm curious when there is a more specific one, how do you tend to decide on the communication methods so that I can be more aware and also have my staff be more aware, because I missed stuff.
Yeah, this is, I think, pretty specific because it only applies to libraries that use acquisitions, that are also using EDI, that also purchase through Baker and Taylor. So I don't know how we decided. I mean, I would assume that, oh, Deborah's adjusting her mic. Does that mean she knows a thing?
Yeah, I was going to jump in and say that in this specific instance, this was a Baker and Taylor issue, not a CCS or Polaris issue. We were alerted to the problem by library staff who opened tickets. Rachel communicated out information that was received from Baker and Taylor. She did directly contact Baker and Taylor, and of course encouraged libraries to contact their account managers as well. She sent out information to, I believe, the system status listserv as well as the acquisitions listserv, which would be pretty typical when we have some sort of system down or need to know basis for all libraries.
Okay. That's helpful. Thanks, Deborah.
Any other questions for Rebecca for her report? I don't see arms waving. So the committees and groups reports are included on page 34 to 45. Are there anything any of the committee chairs would add, or Rebecca, anything you would add, or any questions anyone has about those reports?
I'll just note that we are finalizing the advisory group lists with those nominations. And the scrap list has gone out, right, Deborah? Because they're the only group that meets in July. So we are finishing those up and getting them out shortly, I will say. And then similarly, thank you all for your replies about your committee interests. I still have to go through those and provide rosters to Heidi for her approval. But so if anyone hasn't had a chance to reply and would like to do that, now's the time. So we'll move forward with those.
Fantastic. Well, that leads us to the end of the agenda. So this is usually when, I might say, we're gonna adjourn the meeting unless there are any opposed at 10:30 a.m. None opposed, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Maybe